Hello and good morning. Right now I am in Pine Hills, Florida. I am here to talk about something a little more real because normally I talk about positivity, fun things, or things that you might want to do and actually experience out there in Florida. Today I wanted to talk about the Sunland Mental Hospital, right where I am right now, because the stories are tragic, and then also what has taken place here. They had really amazing intentions, but it is so sad that it turned out the way it did. And I'm going to go over all of the story with you and some history about it. There is a whole bunch of no trespassing signs because a lot of this area is still being used by either correctional offices or a whole bunch of different little departments that we'll show you, or I'll show you on this little walk that I'm going to walk around the perimeter because it is a public perimeter driveway. But I wanted to bring you along with me and just show what it looks like as of today. In the early 1950s, 12 hospitals were opened in Florida for the treatment for tuberculosis. They were all similar in construction, consisting of a long main building with a wall of windows to the rear and plenty of jalousie windows facing the front at the time. It was thought that fresh air helped reduce the infection of tuberculosis, which is why many people suffering the disease came to Florida in the first place. From one of the photos I found of the mental hospital, this building looks like it was originally from that time frame. Now it is the Department of Juvenile Justice. But right over here on the left-hand side, where that big open field is, that's where the hospital used to be. Originally named after the benefactor W.T. Edwards, the hospital served hundreds of people for about a decade. After a vaccine was more available for everybody, the hospital was actually shut down. Then in 1960, the Department of Health reopened the hospital with a new name, which was called until it completely closed, Sunland Mental Hospital. The hospital would serve a new purpose for the disabled adults and children. The property wasn't that famous, and a lot of people I don't think really cared for it or even liked it. It did have a whole bunch of different things happen where it didn't have enough funding for the actual building. Then a whole bunch of complaints opened an investigation in the 1970s where someone actually came out and walked around and tried to see what it was like here. The results were disturbing, to say the least. Residents and staff reported being bitten by rats, and not even that. A lot of people that were there had to be bathed on concrete slabs just to walk around here. I'm paying my respects to everyone that would have been here and had to go through those really hard times. Staff members, residents. I couldn't imagine what it would be like here. And this parking lot seems like it's really out of place. This is on the back end of where the mental hospital would have been. So maybe staff would have parked here, maybe the doctors, or maybe families coming to visit. But otherwise, it's an open field right here next to it. And what's really interesting, if we walk just a little further, there's these two handicapped parking spaces, and they definitely look like they have been here for a while, because it is really faded and kind of hard to see the emblem on the ground. But they're right here. Over 400 patients had to get tubes inserted into them so that way they could actually feed them. And what they served there does not sound appetizing and doesn't sound like it's very healthy for anybody or even right, because they had like a cereal gruel type thing where it was almost like a paste. I couldn't imagine anybody having to actually eat that. At one point, it looks like this building could have actually been part of the mental hospital, but it looks like they have repainted over the brick. Now it's a Central Region Training Center, Now the whole area where the mental hospital used to be is a park. There's a whole bunch of kids running around, playing sports. I wonder if they know what actually used to be here. There is ghost stories about this location where people that have come later on in the nighttime, they have heard kids giggling, laughing, or even trying to hold their hands. If I ever get permission to actually go on the property that's here behind me, I will definitely be coming back at night, going on the playground, trying to do some EVPs because I love doing like ghost adventure stuff, but to pay my respects. Now down there in the field where they're all playing football or training for football, I'm not going to go all the way down there out of respect for those individuals down there, but that's where the building would have been, the very front entrance. And then it would have came all the way back here. It seems like this is a really nice park, but the stories that this land could tell would be so interesting. Here's another angle of the playground. This is where it said that you can actually hear children laughing, crying, and just trying to contact you. I can't follow this pathway because there is a sign saying no trespassing, but hopefully one day I'll be invited out and I actually can go in and do like an investigation. Just finding some of the remnants of the old buildings that used to be here, it gives you an eerie feeling and just makes you sad, because you know a lot of people went through a lot of pain and suffering at this mental hospital. The surgery areas were super unsafe for all of the patients. A lot of patients reported, or the actual nurses reported, urinary infections, skin disease, and that's just to name a few. So you can imagine those conditions that they had to live in. And of course, a lot of it had to do with poor funding. The roads around the mental hospital are still here, which some of them have a name of All Children's Way. So you can imagine the stories it would tell. I found this one right next to that road. And it's really scenic. But you can imagine what must have happened here back when the hospital was open. Just walking a little further down that path, I found, it looks like an electrical box that might be for like an old building, or maybe it was for letters. Not really sure, but it definitely looks like it has been here for a while. You can see how overgrown that concrete was that I was just walking on. It definitely looks like it's been here for a long time. In 1978, a class action lawsuit was filed against Sunland Mental Hospital for gross neglect. The facility was permanently closed in 1983. A lot of the people that either passed or didn't make it because of surgeries that gone wrong are in a cemetery that are not that far away. We're gonna head over there, talk about them, and pay our respects, because I don't think they should be forgotten whatsoever. Just getting to Greenwood Cemetery. It is really peaceful. All you hear once in a while is the occasional plane flying on over. But this is a beautiful cemetery. I'm headed to where they actually have a lot of people buried from Sunland Mental Hospital, and it's actually called Babyland. A lot of people reported that they actually heard people crying, whispering, trying to tug on you while you're here, just trying to get your attention. I'm here because I want to make sure that they're not forgotten. When the building was closed in 1983, it sat there abandoned. A lot of people ended up going, doing investigation, paranormal activity, and going and taking pictures of the actual facility itself, showing what it looked like during that time frame. Then in 1997, there was some explorers that went inside that ended up playing hide and seek. One of them went in the elevator shaft, ended up falling down the elevator shaft, falling down multiple flights and fracturing their skull. It took the police about 2 hours to find the individual that was hurt. So the surrounding residents petitioned to actually have the building demolished. It took some time until the government agreed with them. Then they demolished it and turned it into the park that it is as of today. If you're coming to the cemetery to find it, come to Plot Q. This is where a lot of them are buried from the mental hospital. I am here out of nothing but respect, because I know these are family members, loved ones, and they were not taken care of the way they should have been taken care of. So I wanted to come out here and make sure that none of us have forgotten about any of these loved ones. The first one right here is John, died in 1960, and it just keeps going. It's so sad to think that they might have been abused, or just the conditions that they might have been in when they were in that hospital, trying to get the treatment that they were promised and never got. Gregory, 1961, and some of them are even hidden. They've been here that long, but it looks like the cemetery is not really doing a great job at brushing them off. I'm gonna see if I can brush this one off to pay my respects. It looks like the one that was covered is Linda. She died in 1961. I was gonna cover the rest, but there's a lot of fire ants, and I really don't feel like getting bitten today. The tombstones go all the way down to that tree, and it's 2 rows of different loved ones. Now I'm trying to stay quiet so that way we can see if we hear anybody, or if anybody tugs on my hand or tries to get my attention. Michael, 1966. Jonathan, 1965. And it just keeps going. Sitting here next to the tombstones, I feel nothing but peace. So I really hope all of those children, loved ones, are resting in peace. Because I could not imagine what they went through. But it is really nice out here. I definitely got the creepy vibe when I was over at the actual mental hospital. But here, I feel comfort. Now this is an absolutely beautiful cemetery with a lot of haunted history about this actual cemetery itself. Now, that's gonna do it for today's adventure, talking about those stories and how it's a little bit haunted, and hopefully I can actually go and check out that mental hospital playground in the future. If you do know of any other haunted places here in Florida, make sure you leave a comment down below. That way I can go check them out, document them, and pay my respects. If you did like this type of content, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so that way you can get notified every time I come out with a future video. And also hit that like button so that way you can let me know that you did like the video. And hit the notification button so you get notified every time I come out with a future video. I will see you in the next video. Have a great day, week, and year.